All right, are we ready to go? Up there in the sound booth, I don't know if we're ready or not. All right, we're good. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 2018 Temecula City Council Candidate Forum, hosted by the Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce and Visit Temecula Valley. I'm Brian Connors, your moderator this evening. I'm the Marketing Director at Southwest Healthcare System and serve as Chairman of the Board of the Directors for the Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce. Tonight's forum will focus on our local business community and how these candidates intend to improve the local economy during their term. The forum will be taped and placed on the Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce website for your viewing. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for self-introductions and a brief bio. And just as a side note, new to this year, I think I would mention there are districts. So in District 1, we have the candidates are Myra Garcia and Matt Ron. And Myra's not with us here tonight, is that correct? Okay. District 3 is Marianne Edwards, Michael McCracken, and Adam Rideau. And then in District 5 is Martha Howard and Zach Schwenk. Good to have you here with us tonight. Candidates will then field, after their introductions, they'll field 2 rounds of questions selected in random order. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each of the 2 questions. We will then proceed to our roundtable portion of this forum. The roundtable discussion will consist of 2 questions with a time allotment of 15 minutes per question. Finally, each candidate will have 3 minutes for their closing statement. Tonight's questions were prepared by members of the Temecula Valley Chamber and Visit Temecula Valley. The audience has kindly been asked to remain completely silent during tonight's forum so that we can adhere to our strict time schedule. Candidates, we respectfully ask you for you to limit your responses to the time allotted for each segment. And to help you out, we have a timer present. Here, our lovely Laura down in the front row. So at 30 seconds, she'll go ahead and wave the yellow card. She'll wave it back and forth for you. And that's for 30 seconds remaining. And then the red card, your time has completed, and please wrap that up. So we want to be able to be courteous to all those involved tonight. Now it's my pleasure to introduce tonight's participants who are seated in alphabetical order, as we've already introduced you through your districts. You can see the plates there, so that's good. So let's begin. Good luck to each of you. So, and you'll see my 2 big fish bowls here. So we do this, I'll reach in here and I'll pull out a name. It's random order for your 2-minute introduction. And the first one up will be Marianne Edwards.
Well, thank you, Brian. Well, good evening. I'm Marianne Edwards, and I'd like to thank the Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce. I call it the best chamber on the planet for hosting this forum. I think it's very important that Temecula residents have a chance to see the candidates and compare answers so they can make informed decisions. So as I said, I'm Marianne Edwards, and I've lived in Temecula with my husband Tom and our 3 children, now grown, for almost 30 years. And I came to the council by way of my volunteer service. I am the current council member and the representative for the new 3rd District. And I spent my first probably 10 years in Temecula volunteering for lots and lots of nonprofits. As a young wife and mother, when we moved here, I was very involved with our kids' school. And I became involved with the city because in the early days, it was very easy to volunteer. I participated on practically every steering committee the city of Temecula had for all the new projects and infrastructure. And that's how I became interested in the city. So my experience grew. I eventually was appointed to the Traffic and Safety Commission for the city of Temecula in 1997 and served 3 years. Then I was elected to the Temecula Valley School Board and served for 4 years. My kids were still in school. That was a wonderful experience. Our school district really is the crown jewel of our city. And I was appointed to the city council in 2005 to fill a seat that was vacated by Jeff Stone when he moved to the Board of Supervisors. And I've been serving the citizens of Temecula since that time as city council member and 3-time mayor. So it is a privilege and an honor to serve in the city of Temecula. And I thank you for your support.
Thank you, Marianne. Our next candidate drawn here, Matt Ron.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for not making this at all like the Hunger Games, too.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. All right. Good evening. My name is Dr. Matt Ron. I'm proud to be serving as Temecula's mayor this year and a city council member for the past 4 years. I wanted to thank all the candidates for joining us here this evening, the chamber for hosting this event, the city for giving us the space, and Mr. Connors for moderating what I'm sure is going to be a robust dialogue. I have over 20 years experience in research and education as a university professor, land use, public safety, legislative, and policy consultant. I received my bachelor's and master's degree from University of Nevada, a PhD from UC Davis, and a law degree from University of San Diego. Over the last 20 years, I've tackled some of the most consequential issues that face our region, including public safety, homeland security, wildfires, transportation, renewable energy, watershed management, and open space. Public safety is absolutely my highest priority. Under my leadership, our city has launched several new programs in cooperation and partnership with our police departments, fire departments, and our district attorney. Many of those programs now serve as a model for our region. In the past year, we've hired 12 new officers and have one of the most robust homeless outreach programs in the region. We opened up a new fire station this last year, and we're one of the few cities in the state of California to maintain 4-person staffing on all of our fire engines. The results are unequivocal. Crime is down. We've significantly improved our response times and lowered crime rates. I've recognized how important seniors are to our community, authoring a new senior master plan for the city of Temecula, providing opportunities for new housing programs and services, and I led an effort to help bring a new center for higher education to the city of Temecula and a major new campus at the old Abbott buildings. I have the experience, the qualifications, and history of relationship building necessary to continue nurturing these extraordinary opportunities for the city of Temecula. I look forward to sharing more on these and many other successes that we've had in the city over the past 4 years, and my vision for the future. And thank you all for coming here this evening.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Next up will be Zach Schwank.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd first like to start off by thanking the Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce, Visit Temecula Valley for hosting this event tonight, and Brian Connors for moderating this event. I want to use this time to tell you a little bit about myself and our family. Jennifer and I moved to Temecula in 2001. At that point, we didn't have any children, but we quickly recognized that Temecula was going to be a great place to raise our family. And we weren't wrong, it has been. Jennifer has been working as a teacher for the school district here in Temecula since we moved here, and I was fortunate enough to stay home with our kids and be that stay-at-home parent. I currently now work at Temecula Elementary as a PBIS behavior assistant. Jennifer and I have 3 wonderful children. Emily's a sophomore at Chaparral High School. Jack is a 6th grader at Day Middle School, and Owen is a 2nd grader at Barnett Elementary. We've often said that our kids are growing up in the most amazing city around, and they truly are. When they were younger, we spent many mornings at library story time, or city classes like Susan Miyamoto's music class for toddlers, or local parks for play dates. And we continue to take advantage of everything the city has to offer to this day. I've been a community services commissioner with the city of Temecula since 2013. And I've served as chairperson since 2015. My time on the commission has provided me with great insight on how we manage our city. It is no surprise to me that the majority of residents are happy with the direction that Temecula is headed. Working with council members, fellow commissioners, and city staff has allowed me to form relationships that are instrumental in effectively enhancing every resident's quality of life. In conclusion, being involved in the community is so very important to our family. We volunteer where we can and participate in many events throughout our city. We love everything about Temecula and want to help protect everything that is great about Temecula. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that. Our next candidate for self-introduction is Myra Garcia. Well, she's not here this evening, so we're going to just put her to the side there. It'll be Michael McCracken.
Good afternoon. First of all, to you, Brian Connors, for hosting this event. Chamber of Commerce for putting this event on tonight. My name is Michael McCracken. Since 1996, I've lived in Temecula. I came to this city visiting a friend to have a date, play with my kids. I fell in love with the city that night. It's amazing how the city just opened their arms and welcomed us to be a part of the city. In 1996, when I moved here, wife and 2 kids, we decided to raise our family here. Since that time frame, I've been involved with the city on active duty, on and off. When I retired from the Navy after 24 years of naval service, I got appointed Community Service Commission. From that time frame on, I've been with the city doing various jobs. I currently sit on the board of directors for Habitat for Humanity Inland Valley, 2-in-1 Community Connect, and my HOA. I think it's the great city because the people here have that small hometown feel, and I like to continue working with the city as best I can. In 2015, I was appointed as a council member to replace Supervisor Chuck Washington. That 18 months I was on the council, I really got to embrace the city of Temecula, what it's about, and I would love to continue serving the city any way I can. Thank you for your time, and I'd like your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Our next introduction will be from Adam Rideau.
Ladies and gentlemen, Temecula Chamber of Commerce and neighbors. Good evening, my name is Adam Rideau. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to provide you with my story and my reason for running for the Temecula City Council District 3. I was born and raised in California and remained domiciled here even when my service in the military took me to Fort Benning, Georgia, even as far as Kosovo and Afghanistan. California has always been my home. It's where I grew up with my family. When I was younger, I lived with my grandparents in a farm in Anaheim. Yes, Anaheim had farmland. I remember having rotten orange fights with my cousins and chasing chickens. But the most important part was spending time with my mom and granddad, watching the Disney fireworks in a wonderful environment. I'm so happy that after my time in the military, my wife and I were able to find a wonderful city, which so mirrors the environment of my youth. It is an amazing town to grow up in for my 3 children. Temecula is not just a city, it's family. But like families, we have our issues. And I thank the many residents I've talked to so far in District 3 who shared their concerns. I note your concerns regarding homeless issues. I note your concern regarding the growth and development of Temecula. And I've noted your concern of Temecula losing the family feel. My time for note-taking is coming to an end, and I desire to serve the community of Temecula, using both my military experience, not only as an enlisted member, but also as an officer as well, and my education and background in micro and macro level social work. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Well, Martha. Martha Howard, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here. Muchas gracias por venir a esta comunidad. My name is Marta Angelica Howard, and I'm a candidate for the District Number 5. I'm running because I want to bring your message to the council. This is not my campaign. This is the people's campaign. I live in this city for 24 years, and I'm a military spouse of 30 and some. I have 4 girls, 8 grandchildren, and 1 on the way. I received the NAACP Woman of the Year Award 2018 for my advocacy in the community. I founded the Latina Association of Riverside County. It is an outreach community. We engage with every member on our diverse communities also. I have a degree in psychology, and my platform is based on 3 issues: affordable housing, comprehensive mental health, and to reduce local traffic. I am ready and able to represent you. Yo estoy lista y yo te puedo representar. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, all candidates, for your introductions. Appreciate that. Now we'll move on to round 1. So this is what's going to happen here is that I will choose a candidate name from the one bowl here at random, and then another question here at random from this bowl. And you'll have, I think, is it 3 minutes? 2 minutes? 2 minutes to answer this question. So we'll go ahead. First, we'll mix them up again with the candidate names. And this is going to go to Adam first. Question. Adam, How will you encourage strengthening and enforcement of city regulations to help businesses, tenants, and homeowners feel safe in light of the growing number of homeless in our city?
First in the chute, thanks for the question.
You got it.
Homelessness is a growing issue throughout the state of California, actually. And I'm actually really glad that I was able to help the city about a year ago working with the homeless outreach liaison, Robin Gilliland, and really decrease our growing population. I know that a lot of people are afraid to contact police if there's someone that's around their business or interacting. They don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. They don't want to feel like that they're getting someone in trouble. But we have to remember as residents that you have rights too. It's not illegal to be homeless by any means. However, it is illegal to break the law. And if someone is affecting your business, then you have every right to reach out and contact the police department, contact the city and their representatives, and let them know what they're doing so that it can be corrected. We also have programs, though, as well, that are helping people that are actually getting them off the street. And I was glad to be a part of that. CityNet is an organization that came in and has really helped our city. They've been helping Orange County for a couple years now, but has really helped our city with our homeless problem and our homeless issues. So wholeheartedly think that you have a responsibility as a business owner. If you see something, say something.
Great. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. Our next candidate and our next question will be Matt Ron. And the question is this. Since a large portion of the city has been built out, the city, as it ages, will need to revitalize infrastructure and existing developments. What is your plan for dealing with this revitalization, and how would you fund it?
Excellent question. You know, the city will be 30 years old next year, and we were blessed to be not just a young city, but a thoughtful city in our development. Part of the issue, of course, you have is with the maintenance of the infrastructure we create, not just for transportation issues, but our parks and you know, open space and the places that we enjoy and the city facilities. Fortunately, the residents had the foresight to pass Measure S in 2016, which creates a local tax for a lot of these types of services, particularly public safety, which is a considerable expense of ours. And it's helped create, in a lot of our estimations, a balanced budget and a solid future for the city easily over the next 50 years. That said, we also have a very aggressive new program related to street maintenance and the transportation network that we do have. In the past year, we've been able to repair and fix over 50 miles of roads just here in the city of Temecula alone. And I'm proud to say that I've become the chairman for a regional task force on the I-15 corridor, whose singular focus is to help move traffic through the center of our city and make sure we get the resources from both the state and federal government that we deserve. Temecula is nearly built out, like you said. We're 85 to 90% built out. That last 10 to 15% is so consequential for our city's future and our identity moving forward. So we have to make sure we make the right kind of decisions to permit the right kind of uses and make sure that we have the kind of funds and stability necessary to have a sustainable future for the city of Temecula. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, Martha. Our next question for you. As traffic continues to be a growing issue for our community, are you willing to take difficult positions at saying no to development?
Well, I will take the position to explore what it is the best for our community. And if they're providing and they're building, they also have to comply with the needs that we have as a community and as a city. So everything is up for studying. They cannot just come here and do little, small, tiny roads and build the houses, and then we are faced with the situation with the traffic. I call the funnel effect, in where only the exit to the highways and just the merging into the city, there is an expansion, but then as you come inner city, you are bottled like in a funnel. So I think everything is up for review and what it is best for our community. They cannot come in here and build and not construct the roads that will access in and out flow of traffic.
Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
Mary Ann, you're up next. Tourism in wine country, although outside the city limits, is a major tourist attraction and revenue generator for the region. Over the next 3 years, what role will the city play in tourism?
Oh, that's a great question. We do not take for granted the wonderful attraction that wine country has for visitors from all over the western United States and people that come from even from other countries. So the city supports tourism in wine country in many ways. We are business friendly. We promote all the activities in Old Town. Our economic development department does a wonderful job working closely with the Visit Temecula Valley and the Chamber of Commerce to promote not just Temecula, but to promote wine country and all the benefits that it has. Again, strengthening that economic development message really does help wine country. And there are several issues that we'll be dealing with over the next couple of years. We're starting to take a look at the Airbnb issue. We have more hotels coming to Temecula. We continue to promote business that in town that will also attract tourists who will eventually go to wine country. So we do not take that for granted, the $700 million that it generates. We appreciate every ancillary penny that we get from the tourism that comes here. So we will continue to promote all the events and all the great things about wine country.
Thank you, Mary Ann. All right, Zach, you're up next here. What experience have you had in dealing with legislative issues as well as negotiating with elected officials and agencies at the county and state level? Please briefly describe that experience.
So I don't have a ton of experience with dealing with legislative issues, especially at the county level. But what I can tell you is that as a commissioner for the city for the last 6 years, I've worked with council members, commissioners, and city staff to really sort of form an idea and take that into a plan to make everything successful, let's say. Working across the aisle, working with people, forming relationships is what I do at that commission level. And I think that translates well, even though I'm not necessarily working at the county level with, say, Supervisor Washington or our state legislature.
Okay, thank you. And last up is Michael. And your question, Michael, what should the city and the city council's position be in working with surrounding cities for regional improvement? How would you implement your proposed position?
Excellent question, Brian. My approach to that would be to form a task force, if you will, with other council members and get the community involved as well. A lot of issues that we come across, the answers are with the residents, the people that actually live every day. As a council member, when I was on the council, you have your full-time job and you have your council member job as well. A lot of great resources come from our residents. So what I would do is form a group with outlying cities, talk with them one-on-one with the approach that we can all win from this if we come together and work as a group. No one city should come out ahead. No one group should come out ahead. It should be a win-win for the residents. And by doing that, we get a chance to spread the wealth and responsibilities as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That ends our round one. Now we go to round two. And we're going to toss these questions in the bowl here and start over again here. Same format, just some different questions and maybe a different order for our candidates. So, Adam, I just picked you again first, so you're up.
It's karma.
You're seeing it right here. It's random. All right. Adam, what infrastructure plans would you propose to support and enhance the business community?
So I am a big hockey advocate, right? And I'm actually the president of the local hockey league. My son plays roller hockey. And one of the things that I've been talking to the city about is the possibility of bringing a hockey rink here. Believe it or not, that is a huge increase for our infrastructure. It brings lots of commerce into the city. and we have a great place for it in the northern portion of Temecula. And so I think that bringing the right businesses into the city is really the answer to increasing commerce and better for our infrastructure of our city.
Great, thank you. All right, Zach, you weren't second last time, were you?
I was
Okay.
not.
All right. All right, Zach, as a council member, what do you see as your role in working with city staff and city commissions?
Well, that's a great question. It would just be an extension of what I'm already doing, to be honest with you. Again, serving on the commission is a great opportunity to make relationships and form bonds with council members and staff. I think I'm a community services commissioner, so we're the fun commission, as everyone says. We do a lot of great things in the community. And, most of the meetings we have revolve around, how do we make Temecula better? How can we improve everything from city classes to the theater to Penny Pickles, you name it. We're constantly working. So, I think for me to transition from the commission to the council would be a very easy transition. I already have great relationships with sitting council members and commissioners and city staff as well.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right, Michael McCracken, our next candidate, and the next question. What will you do to drive innovation to our city?
Great question. I would start with working with our youth, the one who have the most advanced technology skills, and I will work with business outside the city to partnership with them. Again, this is a situation to where the city will benefit from the innovation, the companies will benefit from being a part of the city. This is all about networking. As a Navy Chief Petty Officer, we're very good at networking, all about networking, using your resources, the skills that you don't have, tap into other skills and bring those in. By doing that, it'll be a lot better process, better streamline, a lot less effort to put forth by using those already established skills. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Ron's up next. Matt, in terms of economic development in the city, what are the greatest opportunities and challenges over the next 3 years?
Oh, thank you, Brian. Greatest opportunities in our city. I mentioned during my opening statement the new Center for Higher Education in the city. When I came to the city 4 years ago as a new council member, I knew that bringing higher education and a solid 4-year and 2-year college programs and university programs to the city fundamentally changes our opportunities, not just for our youth, but for our businesses and future employment. The synergy that occurs when you bring all of these wonderful opportunities together and really highlight what's important to our community. And so I have been absolutely honored to be able to help lead the discussion with higher education to identify which programs are most important for our community. And in particular, you hear a lot of discussion on hospitality, tourism, and management, which now Temecula has this past year a $727 million tourism economy. We need to be able to support that. I've also heard a lot of discussion on our growing healthcare facilities, both from the hospitals and the clinics and the doctors' offices that are opening up. And again, we have a robust and growing nursing program with Cal State San Marcos, and we have a wonderful opportunity to help support that industry. So I see us working hand in glove with a lot of these new partners and creating new programs to really help Temecula thrive. Lastly, I think it's important from a growth perspective that we really do tackle the issues related to public safety. The state has seen an erosion of public safety, largely because of Prop 47, Prop 57, and the early release of prisoners, knocking back a lot of felonies to misdemeanors and creating a lot of issues. Again, public safety being our #1 charge, we are doing an outstanding job of making sure we are heavily protected as a community and keep our businesses and residents safe. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Martha, next question for you here. Do you see yourself as a leader in our community, and how do you best define leadership?
Absolutely. I'm a leader in my community because I had identified invisible communities. When you participate and when you legislate and when you occupy a chair like this, you have to be embracing of every single community. And the second question was, how do I define leadership?
And how do you best define leadership? Yes.
How do I best define leadership? By being endemic. You are one with them, and so that way you know their needs, you know their strengths and their weakness, and you grow as a community.
Thank you. And then Mary Ann.
Sir.
The Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce has been serving the Valley since 1966. How familiar are you with the Temecula Chamber?
Well, I'm very honored to have worked with the Chamber on many projects and many issues. One thing that our chamber has done that so many chambers across the state have not done is become very, very active in legislation that impacts our businesses. And I also participated with the Southwest Legislative Council in that regard. But the chamber does have to be commended for the strong stance that they've taken for pro-business positions. You know, it's difficult to do business in the state of California. The state doesn't make it any easier. So when you have a strong Chamber of Commerce advocating for your business, it really makes a huge difference, and it helps to attract new businesses because they know they're going to have that support. The other thing that the Chamber does that's really good is if we hear about a business that's struggling or has been so impacted by California regulation that they think they might need to leave or go to another state, the Chamber puts together a red team and immediately goes in. The city goes along. The Economic Development Corporation goes along, and they sit down with that business to try and decide what steps can be taken to keep them here, to retain those businesses. So the Chamber has a very, very active business attraction and retention program, not to mention all the great events that they have that support their memberships, the networking, the classes that they provide, the education opportunities that they have. The Chamber is wonderful, and it is a fantastic resource for local business. So if you don't know that much about the Chamber, you need to find out.
Thank you. And thank you to all for your the first two rounds there. Appreciate that. Now we're going to go into the roundtable portion of our evening tonight. And we'll have two questions. I'll pose the question. If you need to hear it again, I'm happy to give that to you again during it. This will be for 15 minutes, and we'll try to do it in as orderly a fashion as possible. So I'll try to keep an eye out for you if you want to raise your hand, and I'll go on and best what I see. You make some comments there, okay? So I'll state the first question, and then if you'd like to chime in, I'll note your voice there. First question: the city of Temecula is now 29 years old. As a maturing city that has developed very successfully, what is your vision for its future success in the next 5 and then 10 years? Yes, please, Michael, and then Martha.
Great question. Because we are out of the developing state into the maintenance state, we need to be very, very cautious in how we use our resources. Again, tap into other cities and other agencies to help us keep our infrastructure going. I plan on partnershiping with different organizations and businesses, bringing them here and using their resources. The fact that we are 85%, 95% built out, that doesn't give us a lot of revenue from builders coming in. So using our funds wisely, Measure S was a big plus for that, and also being very cautious on permitting different buildings coming up and who gets built what. So.
Okay, thank you. Martha and then Mary Ann, please.
We have to, short term, the 5-year, and the long term, 10-year. I would like to address the short term. What I envision is to address the issues that are currently in our city: affordable housing, the traffic, and also the need for mental health comprehensive mental health clinic in our area. How can we achieve this? Well, we have to be very cautious about our resources, number one, and put our community first. That will be the short term to address what is needed right now. That way we can move forward into the long-term range, which would be to bring jobs in the city so that way we stop commuting. So that will be an excellent objective to accomplish on the long term. And we have to start at some point in time. And by that, I mean to bring some bio research and development, something that we can complement with the existing industries that we have here, and also partnership with the institutions, so that way we can recreate a working pool and sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you. Marianne, and then we have Matt, and then Zach, and then Adam, please.
Well, in order to be successful for the next 5 to 10 years, we have to make sure that we have adequate infrastructure to support any new programs, businesses, or opportunities that we have. So I'm happy to say that thanks to Measure S, we've been able to take care of our road maintenance, neighborhood road maintenance, and accelerate that plan. So instead of every 8 or 9 years having your street improved in your neighborhood, you will now have it done in every 5 to 6 years. So that's a basic thing. And then the other infrastructure that's in process right now, we have the Overland Overcrossing that will connect the east side to the west side, the business park. You won't have to use Winchester or Rancho California Road. So that will ease traffic from the business park across the creek and then again across the freeway. We have the 79 South Interchange, and we also have the French Valley Parkway. So that's the major infrastructure that's in place. But right now, for the next 5 to 10 years, we have so much opportunity that we need to take advantage of. First of all, we have fabulous Temecula Valley Hospital, which just expanded by 35,000 square feet. They have a state-of-the-art neurosciences center, which in the United States, they're the only hospital using these particular types of machines to assist doctors in doing 3D surgery and visioning for 3D surgery. So that is going to attract other ancillary, high-tech medical businesses to town. So that gives us the opportunity to be able to attract them, to set up programs for their employees that will make them want to come to Temecula. The other thing is, and Matt has talked about it, is the new education center. We have a huge opportunity with the beautiful campus that's been established at what was former Abbott site. Mount San Jacinto College will be there, and they're already talking to other colleges and universities about joining them on that campus. Those things really elevate the level of quality of life in your city. So we will be able to attract higher education and then all the ancillary services that means and that can bring to the city. And then the third thing is our tourism continues to grow and improve. And as we move into the next 5 or 10 years, we will find new ways to reach out to tourists. We'll expand our marketing and advertising. We'll be able to do more to promote Temecula Valley as a destination, and that's what we're looking for. Longer stays for tourism so that they can experience everything that Temecula has to offer, as well as wine country. So there are so many things ahead. And then financially, the city of Temecula right now has balanced the budget for the next 5 years. We balance the budget every year, but right now with projections, we're balanced for the next 5 years. And that has a lot to do with Measure S. So thank you to the Chamber for supporting that initiative, and to the residents who had the vision to support that for Temecula, in order that we can help to pay for all of these things and invest in our city and our region for the next 5 to 10 years.
Matt, and then Zach, please.
All right. Well, I won't belabor the education piece. That's a good short-term and long-term goal. But I'd also highlight the employment and jobs opportunities in the Temecula Valley. Today we have about 55,000 jobs in the region, with little bit more than half of all the jobs in Southwest Riverside County. It's important that we maintain that and grow our job opportunities here in the city, not just for our youth and working professionals, but it's an important aspect of what our community is. And it also helps get people off the freeways and allow them to have a wonderful quality of life where they don't have to commute. That's both a short-term and a long-term goal of ours. We need to maintain good relationships with the region and really talk about regional partnerships. As all of our cities have grown up, our borders are bumping up against one another, and we're sharing a lot of the same problems. And whether it's in transportation, homelessness, or other issues, we need to be able to work together to resolve these things. Temecula often shows leadership in the region to be able to come up with new and exciting programs. But we're really seeing a lot of great relationships emerge between our local cities. And speaking of that, I mentioned earlier the Move 15 task force that we created this year. I'm proud to serve as the chairman for that. And again, that's both a long-term and a short-term goal. Short-term goal is to make sure that this year we have the Temecula Parkway and the interchange completed. It will be done, now I'm understanding that it's going to be done ahead of schedule and on budget. Look, frankly, the city of Temecula made promises of what our city was going to look like, and we counted on our state and federal government following through with their promises of what the transportation infrastructure would look like. Sadly, that didn't occur. And so the city of Temecula and the Pechanga Band of Luiseño Indians has largely funded that entire intersection and transportation project on I-15. And quite frankly, the city of Temecula nor our partners with the tribe should not be subsidizing the state or federal government to do the job that they promised us. However, we know that if we didn't do that, it wouldn't have occurred. And so I'm very proud to see that move forward. But in that same vein, our long-term priority and short-term is to expand our presence in both Washington, D.C. and in Sacramento. 4 years ago when I came here, the city of Temecula did not have a legislative platform. I was proud to be able to work with folks like our city clerk, Randy, who now serves as our legislative director, and Betsy Lowery in the city manager's office, creating a new legislative platform with the city, allowing us to respond quickly to changes at the state and federal level and make sure that our presence is felt. Now, 4 years later, when I go into our legislators' offices at either capital, people aren't looking at me wondering, Temecula who? They're more or less just rolling their eyes saying, oh, this guy's back again. But that's a good thing. It's really improved our infrastructure. It's allowed us to move very aggressively forward on protecting Old Town from future floods. And I hope to see a tremendous change in our transportation infrastructure into the future.
Thank you. Zach, then Adam, please.
Right. So when I talk to friends and neighbors, most everyone, in fact, a high percentage of people are extremely satisfied with the way things are going. I'm just going to read you a few numbers here. In a 2014 study, a satisfaction survey, if you will, 96% believe the quality of life is excellent or good in Temecula. 92% rate the quality of our parks and facilities as excellent or good. And that number is only going to rise with the parks that we're going to renovate in the coming years. 90% agree with the statement, I trust the City Council of Temecula and the city manages its finances well. So if we're going to do something different, I would suggest we not. Everyone is extremely happy with the way things are going. As far as opportunities, there are always opportunities. We have a brand new rec center, the Margarita Rec Center, that's going to come online. It's funded, ready to go. We have a teen village concept that's possible in the coming years. French Valley Parkway, those are all things that are on the radar. The city is doing a great job, and I think, long-term and short-term, we stay the course. We follow the Quality of Life Master Plan. We're in a good place.
Thank you. Adam.
Thank you. I think one of the biggest issues is to don't lose the family feel for Temecula. Also, we have to, if we're going to develop, we have to do it in a smart way. We need to ensure that we don't forget about the businesses that are here. We need to, as leaders that sit on this desk here, remember everyone that was here in the beginning and the businesses that were here and ensure that we're not pushing them out. We also have to look at development within our elder care. And what I mean by that is 5 to 10 years. I'm a social worker. And one of the benefits of that is that you have different types of social work. And in this valley, we have Sun City, which is north of us, and we also have MSJC, and we have Cal State San Marcos, which is to the south of us. Both of those schools have great social work programs, but we don't have interns here that are helping our elderly. That's free internships to take care of our growing population that are aging out. They're going to have lots of issues, Social Security issues, retirement issues, and we need people like social workers, and we need those schools to make their presence here. I'm glad that one of the things I was able to do is talk to the head of the social work department at Cal State San Marcos. And I'm trying to work on getting them here in the Abbott buildings as well for a degree so that we can have more social workers here to help our aging population. Thanks.
Thank you. We got a few more minutes to, if you want any follow-up comments. If not, we can move on to the next one. Any other comments in regards to that first roundtable question? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Moving on to the next one here in our roundtable question. If Proposition 6 is approved and fuel and vehicle fees are repealed, how would you propose to replace this lost revenue source? Let me read that again. If Proposition 6 is approved and fuel and vehicle fees are repealed, how would you propose to replace this lost revenue source? Mary Ann, please.
You know, that has a greater impact on Temecula. If SB 1, which we're talking about, is repealed through Proposition 6, there are cities all over Riverside County that are counting on those funds for transportation. So if it's repealed, we have to stand ready and able to find other funding sources for our major projects. And that includes French Valley Parkway and some of the other major infrastructure projects that we're looking at. Temecula has always been very good at visiting Washington and going to Sacramento and continuing to knock on doors to find other resources for funding. And we have to be able to adapt our projects to some of the funds that are available. There are pools of money specifically set aside for projects, and we have to be able to identify those pools so that we can replace those funds. As far as regionally goes, we still rely heavily for regional resources on our TUMF fees, and that means Traffic Uniform Mitigation Fees. And those are fees that developers pay per house that they build, or commercial businesses, or industrial businesses. So we will have to learn how to leverage those TUMF fees for those regional projects. And the TUMF program that has been adopted by the county, or at least Southwest or Western Riverside County, has provided millions and millions of dollars for those infrastructure projects. So there are ways to replace them. It may take us a little while to do it, but depending on what happens with Prop 6, we'll stand prepared to replace those funds as necessary. Temecula is very resourceful in that way, and we will continue to be so.
Thank you. Any other comments on this? Please, Zach. Thank you.
I won't go into too much detail and piggyback on Mary Ann with the comments, but knowing city staff the way I know them, they're extremely talented at what they do. I've worked with Matt Peters specifically on some active transportation grants. I know the city has an active grant writing program. They will continue to fight for every dollar they can. So whether, if Prop 6, whatever happens with that, we have to be creative. And like Marianne said, it might just take a little bit longer. That would not be a great thing to happen. We'd like to see those things happen now. We'd like to see French Valley Interchange happen now. But if it doesn't, the city is going to continue to work hard. They're going to go after grants. They're going to go after regional funds to make that happen.
Okay, Michael, you have some comments on this?
Yes. During my appointment as a city council member, I was very impressed on this side of the dais to see how well the council members work together. Staff are very expert at what they do good research. The best thing about the staff we have now and the council that I was on, we always came to the issue with the win-win idea. Even though the county or the state would throw us curveballs, present things to us that we didn't like, we had to accept it. It's amazing how we got together and we actually talked things out. That's one great thing about this city and the council at the time. We keep our citizens first. We come to the table with a win-win attitude, although outside forces bring things to us that we can't control, we manage to work those things out within the city because everyone at the table at that time, and I was glad to be a part of that, had Temecula as first priority. So we have to come out. So and that's what we did.
Okay. Please, Matt
Well,
and Martha.
all right. A couple of things. First off, when SB 1 was passed, it was a result of not having enough money to address our transportation issues statewide. We spent a lot of money on things like high-speed rail and other non-capacity building projects throughout the state of California for right or wrong reasons. Unfortunately, a lot of that doesn't help our city. Today, the section of I-15 right outside our door is listed in one of the top 25 worst congested sections of freeway in the United States. And frankly, for a city of 113,000 people, we shouldn't be on that list. It's an undue burden, and it's an unfair burden for us to have. As far as taxes are concerned, we disproportionately collect a tremendous amount of tax as a significant tourist destination for Southern California, and yet disproportionately receive fewer tax dollars back in transportation funding. And I think that's a disappointing way that funds are distributed around the state, and we need to absolutely do better than that, particularly given what's right outside our door. The burden that we face today in fixing this problem is how do we pay for it? And if this is repealed, it's going to be significant. Unfortunately, there were some confusing decisions made several years ago by regional transportation agencies and our state in removing our section of freeway from the approved projects list. What that meant, in essence, was that we were no longer a project for Caltrans or the region, and as simple as it seems to just put the asphalt down in the center of the median and put in HOV lanes or managed lanes or whatever it is, simply would not occur because we were not a project. Creating that task force that I now chair is strongly advocating for those opportunities to make sure that we are at least able to get in the ring to advocate for those funds. And transportation dollars are limited. We're hoping that one day we'll see a different ethic both in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. as far as being able to fund local infrastructure. And this is incredibly consequential, not just for our quality of life here in Temecula and our ability to get on the freeway. Most people don't know that Temecula only contributes about 6 to 8% of the total traffic volume on I-15 during any given day. So that's a significant burden we face, and it's a significant potential burden to our quality of life and our health as all those vehicles sit on the freeway, putting pollution into our local valley. So we absolutely need to see these projects move forward. We absolutely need the funding to do that. But I have to say, with or without SB 1 and transportation dollars, we will continue to advocate and use our new regional task force working with 6 cities, 2 tribes, Department of Defense, Caltrans, and even Border Patrol in addressing the issues that face our region. Thank you.
Thank you. Martha and then Adam.
Yes. If Proposition 6 is repealed, I've been thinking that Riverside County is a logistics center for distribution. So Temecula is in the 15 corridor. I believe that one of the issues that we can tackle would be to regionally come up with a plan and have the warehouse industry also to provide some funds for such, to advocate for those funds that we will lose if Proposition 6 is repealed. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
I think one of the biggest things that the residents and neighbors of Temecula can do is elect individuals like our great mayor here, who has actually started to work with the legislature of California. Everything is grassroots based, right? We're a city organization. We don't pass state laws in the city, but we can speak for you and we can speak on your behalf. And I think one of the most important things that you can do is elect someone that's willing to do that. That can go up and say, this is wrong. This is what the people in Temecula are saying, and we can voice your opinions. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comment, please? Mary Ann.
Yeah, I have an answer for that. We are currently in the process of forming a collaborative group of every city in Riverside County to go to Sacramento, and I'm doing it, I'm putting it together as the chairperson for the League of California Cities. But I'm organizing every city to form a task force on a specific schedule to go and visit our legislators in Sacramento for those reasons. And we're not just going to visit our own legislators, because that's what we've done in the past. But we need to get to know those people who are the decision makers, the people who chair all the committees that really, in Sacramento, it's sometimes difficult to even get legislation out of the initial committees and get it to the floor. That's where a lot of the legislation dies. A lot of good legislation dies there. So in that vein, the cities of Riverside County will come together with one voice. And we don't think that that's been done anywhere else. Riverside County is the 4th largest county in the state of California and the 10th largest county in the United States. So combined with one voice, we pack a wallop in Sacramento. And there are cities who are not as conservative as Temecula. They're more liberal cities. So we will cover the gamut of legislators. But that is in process now, and we're working very closely with Riverside County to do that, to visit Sacramento with one solid voice.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this question? All right, appreciate your contributions to those roundtable questions. So we're coming down to the 3-minute closing statement for each candidate. We'll go ahead and I'll draw that again. See if we get you first, Adam. Okay, Martha, you're up. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you again for being here. And I just want to say that I have a great desire to serve my community, engaging with council members to find a common ground as we address present challenges and future plans. That folks who work in our city can afford to live in the city. To bring sustainable industries so people do not have to commute, and that those with mental needs will have access to comprehensive mental care from home-first models to self-sufficiency. Please vote for me November the 6th. Thank you. Por favor, voten por mí en noviembre. Gracias.
Thank you, Martha. Adam Rideau.
Not last. I wanted to start by thanking my wife because she is my strength and she's here in the audience. So I'm going to embarrass her and my son and say thank you. I'm 100% committed to serving Temecula. Rest assured that I have Temecula's best interests in mind because they're your interests, just as they are mine. I believe it's time to introduce term limits to our city council positions. Since the time of the founding fathers, a general consensus states that people, when given power, will eventually be corrupted by it. Term limits bring candidates that are more likely to run for the purpose of serving the people. And they would have to leave office before corruption dominates their decisions. It also prevents council members from becoming lethargic, unmotivated, and routine. I know that we can do better for our homeless issue in Temecula, just as we did when I was at the helm of the city's homeless outreach, working with the city's homeless outreach liaison. Our city can also do a better job with regard to our growing veteran population. Our proximity to Marine Corps' largest expeditionary training facility, MCRB Camp Pendleton, makes us a city that senior enlisted and retiring officers fall in love with and choose to stay in. I believe that the city can do more. We need to have a veteran liaison. We need to give veteran preference to veteran-run businesses. And we definitely need council members that know the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Neighbors, our city, our family is in need of leaders that will not only talk the talk and sing during parades, but step up and lead Temecula. I am battle-tested. I don't run away from difficult issues or problems, just like I didn't run away from the bullets in combat. I am motivated and dedicated to make our city, the best family that it can be. I have the education and I have the leadership experience needed. I'm here to lead Temecula for the next 4 years, and I humbly ask for your vote to make that a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Next up is Zach.
Great, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And I'd also like to thank my family. They definitely make me a better person every single day, so thank you. Temecula is a gem. Next year will be our 30th anniversary as a city. We sure have come a long way since 1989. We consistently hold ourselves to a high standard in Temecula, and it shows. We have a beautiful park system that's only getting better every year. We renovated 4 parks last year, and we opened a new one as well. Next year, we plan on renovating 3 more. Old Town Temecula, Pechanga Resort and Casino, the Promenade Mall, and Wine Country have helped to transform our economy and put Temecula on the map as a major tourist destination. The Old Town Temecula Community Theater is a premier theater offering professional shows year-round, all while supporting local artists. Penny Pickles, the Temecula Valley Museum, the CRC, Patricia Bertzel Sports Park are all top-notch facilities, offering residents and visitors many opportunities right here in Temecula. I could go on, but the theme is that in Temecula, there's only one way, and that's the Temecula way. I've heard this for years, and I truly believe it. Moving forward, what will the Temecula way look like? I believe that we have succeeded because we work together. The city, residents, businesses, and nonprofits all have one goal in common and want to see Temecula be the best it can be. I can tell you that I think it's working. In the coming years, we'll continue to invest in public safety. We'll continue to invest in infrastructure. We'll continue to invest in our youth, our seniors, and our special needs families. We'll continue to create the highest quality of life possible for all residents. As part of the Temecula family for the last 17 years, we have seen Temecula grow and change, and I'm proud to be a part of that growth and change. For the last 6 years, I've served the residents of Temecula faithfully on the Community Services Commission. I look forward to continuing my service if elected as your council member. I'm confident that we're headed in the right direction as a city, but we must also stay true to the family values that make Temecula such a great place to live. If there's one thing I've learned in our time that we have lived in Temecula, is we're always looking to the future. Everything we do has a purpose. We think things through and we always build upon our past. Again, that's the Temecula way. Let's work together and continue doing things the Temecula way. Let us forge ahead enhancing our legacy. Let us not finish the story, but write another chapter for the next generation to build upon. Let us continue to create a dynamic, inclusive, exciting, and prosperous community. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Next up, Michael McCracken.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. For the past 24 years, I've served this country. People say that, and as a veteran, you take it for granted because we understand what that means. But it didn't take me until I actually retired and I became a council member working with the city. When I saw other veterans, other active duty serve, I actually saw value in that statement. To serve something above yourself, to serve others, is one calling I think not everyone has, but I think God has blessed me with that talent. For the past 10 years, scratch that, for 10 years I served Temecula as a commissioner and a council member. The job I loved every day. It didn't take me until the 2 years I was off the council that I decided I missed it. Temecula has a great reputation, and the reputation comes from people who serve with no self-agenda. The people that serve this city, when I was on the council, I can speak personally. The whole idea was whatever works for Temecula is the best thing to do. As your neighbor and a former council member for over a decade, I'm honored to be part of Temecula's success. As a 24-year military veteran and a family man, and also a small business owner, I'm vested in Temecula's future. To say I love Temecula is an understatement. The fact that I got a chance to serve this city is one thing I really hold true, and I will take care of every chance I get. One of my goals for this city is to continue to promote public safety, balanced budget, family-focused, community-centered city. I want to advocate for special needs, youth, and seniors, and military groups to make one inclusion to Temecula. Advocate for those resources for our police and fire to make our city safer. I could go on all night, but I'll end with this. I have 2 master's degrees, I have a bachelor's degree, and I have a PhD in giving back. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Next up, Mary Ann.
Well, thank you, and thank you again, Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce and Visit Temecula Valley for hosting this forum. It has been a true honor to have served on this council since 2005, and it energizes me every day. It never gets old. Temecula has such a wonderful cross-section of partners to work with, and across the board, everyone pulls together in the same direction. The city, the chamber, Visit Temecula Valley, our business community, our nonprofits, our professional community, everyone works together for one goal, and that is to do their part in making Temecula the best place it can be. And we have achieved that in so many ways. We're one of the safest cities in the country. I just read today a release that said we're the 21st, number 21 in California, the best place to raise a family. We have so many things to be proud of, and I have been here for all of it and have enjoyed working very hard with the partners that we value so much that help to make this city what it is. I'm very proud of what we've done for veterans, and we can always do more. We can never thank them enough, and I'm really honored to have been endorsed by the Temecula Valley veterans. You know, I'm the author of Responsible Compassion, and that is our city's homeless program. And what started out as a narrative and an outline on a napkin written on a Saturday morning when Tom and I were having breakfast at the Swing Inn has turned into one of the most successful regional homeless programs and support programs, so much so that we are putting together a package right now to present to Housing and Urban Development in Washington as a pilot program. And it takes so much partnerships. The partnerships are crucial in efforts like this. We work closely with the county. We work with local agencies, local nonprofits to serve those who are homeless and want to come out of that lifestyle. And then on the flip side, to protect Temecula residents, we've hired additional police officers. We have 4 full-time officers working on the homeless task force. We have CityNet that supports our efforts in law enforcement to protect everyone in Temecula. So we've made so many critical decisions and come through so much over the last 29 years in Temecula. We have a tradition of excellence and a culture of family and true giving back. And I've been so honored to be a part of that, and I want to continue to do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Matt, please.
All right. Well, again, I wanted to thank everyone for joining us here this evening, and thanks to all my colleagues here at the dais for conducting themselves with the utmost professionalism. We have a strong foundation on which to build Temecula's future. The decisions we make today can preserve the city's distinctive character, the small town feel, and ensure a vibrant future. City council members, it's imperative that we remember that we serve this public and our community, and we should never take that trust for granted. It is our duty to demonstrate the temperament, the experience, and the leadership that can foster inclusive, collaborative, and transparent dialogue by remaining equitable, responsive, and respectful to one another. We need to continue to be engaged through neighborhood meetings and community events, social media, and digital communication. I'm proud to see that the city has really stepped up those efforts over the last several years, and it's really improved our ability to stay in touch with our residents, inform our community, and hear from you about what your issues and concerns are. We are all in this together, and our success depends on your continued engagement. In my opening statement and throughout this evening, I referenced many of the successes Temecula has had over the last 4 years. It's been my greatest honor to serve as a council member and mayor for this city and help create and foster those wonderful opportunities. Temecula needs to continue this legacy of success. It's who we are, and it's what we're good at. I came here 4 years ago with a list of things that I thought were important for our community. Those promises were made, and those promises were kept. And I have only just begun. As the world around us changes, it is our responsibility to ensure that Temecula remains resilient, prepared, successful, and prosperous. And again, Temecula is only 25 years old, or 29 years old, which is pretty amazing given the status that this community has attained in that short period of time. I promise to continue to preserve our quality of life, carefully plan for our future, and provide the kind of guidance needed to keep Temecula the wonderful and inspiring community that it is. I'll leave you with a few statistics. We are ranked the 13th safest city in the United States. We have been ranked as the 3rd best place to live in California, and the most prosperous city in the county of Riverside. We have the lowest unemployment rate in our city's history, and over half the jobs in our region. As a neighbor, a mayor, a husband, a father, and a son, it is my job to ensure a prosperous future for us all here in Temecula. I once again ask for your trust and support, and promise to provide the kind of representation that Temecula truly deserves. I respectfully ask for your vote in November, and thank you for joining us again here this evening.
Well, on behalf of the Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce and Visit Temecula Valley, thank you to each of tonight's candidates and to all in attendance here. Please feel free to stay and network. However, City Hall, I understand, has a scheduled power outage with the power company at 8:45. So
We do.
if you're hanging around and the lights go out, just know that
We
you know,
paid the bill.
hopefully you brought your little flashlight.
Yeah, and
right?
we paid the bill, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.